There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fangirl Zone. I am Sean Fangirl S. Today we are talking Handmaid's Tale Episode 2, and joining me for Handmaid's Tale Episode 2, I have Miss Jennifer. Hello and welcome.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
So glad you can make it back with me. And Jennifer's going to be with me for the middle portion, well, basically the rest of the season of Handmaid's Tale. Last episode, Ingrid was joining us from the Great White North, Canada, and she will come back and visit us for the finale of this. This has been insane, and like I was talking to Ingrid, and Jennifer and I have talked about this in regards to Walking Dead. This is crazy how it can mirror what's happening in the world.
Oh, so closely. It's scary.
Yeah, little things, and it starts to add up to really big things. It's weird. But let's give you the review we have for Birthday, which is episode 2. Offred and her fellow handmaids assist with the delivery of Janine's baby, prompting Offred to recall her own daughter's birth. Offred draws closer to Offglen while dreading the secret meeting with the commander. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, the commander. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Well,
so
I love that we got backstory, though, a little bit.
Yes, we did. This series, when I found out it was coming on, I'm like, oh, I better hurry up and read the book. Because it's been on my list forever and ever, and everyone's like, oh, you have to read it. It's so good. And finally, it just kind of caught up with me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch the series. I'm going to start watching the series. And I love it, and I've also started reading the book. And it's kind of weird that I try to pace myself. I'll watch the TV series and then I'll listen up to, because I do audiobooks, I'll listen up to about the point that I'm at and then I'll stop.
I kind of do that with Walking Dead.
Yes. So far, a very authentic adaptation to the show. Of course, things have to be reordered or what have you for TV, because the book is basically written as a stream of consciousness, and you get these, times back before the new religion started, and then you get these times where, it's present day, or you get these throwbacks to when she was in the Red Center. And it's just all it's not really separated out in the book. It just kind of, you go with it and you listen, and if you stop listening for a couple seconds, you get a little lost. But other than that, excellent book, excellent series, and crazy relevant. Oh my word. So
we did talk a little bit about how Margaret Atwood took from a bunch of different religions, and not just religions. If you look at deeper, which I understand, it could be a religion, but different cults and different politics all over, and kind of mesh it all together.
Yes.
And that's why you can see so much of the reality right now, which is scary because when we were growing up, we didn't have instant news like this.
No,
there was the morning and the evening news, and that was it. Where now it's it's at your fingertips. It pops up on your phone, so you see
the news
everything.
cycle. Yeah, the news cycle isn't even 24 hours anymore. It's 24 minutes. It's coming at us so fast because we have social media like Twitter and Facebook and cable news and 500 different channels, and we've got our phones that we can just pull up any news story from all over the world from 5 different sources. It's crazy. So with everything happening as fast as it does now, and then you watch a series like Handmaid's Tale, and you see kind of how things got crazy really quickly, it's not a far stretch to think to yourself, oh, wow, maybe we should start paying a little more attention before we end up all dressed in red or all green, or, maybe you're an aunt. I don't know. It's just one of those that is a cautionary tale, and I think more people should watch it, to be honest.
Well, I think it's funny, and we'll talk about this more much later on.
Yes.
I am watching episode by episode. You guys are all ahead of me. So I'm recording as I'm watching. So You guys have to bear with me out there and listeners.
Yeah, you have to be kind of the spoiler police on me because I have watched and I'm listening, and so yeah, and I'm really excited about it. So that too.
But I don't know. They haven't showed at this point. Showed. What the heck? That's the good English. They haven't shown how it started. Like, we're getting little glimpses, like this episode, Ginny.
The way,
had the baby. And we find out when Offred, June, was pregnant,
yes,
that it was only 1 in 5 births were actually healthy.
Yes, and you're like, oh wow, okay.
But it kind of reminds me of Children of Men too.
Where the baby is almost abducted. And this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just scary. I mean, anybody out there who has had a child, I mean, there's always that fear, because going in to see my nephew or my friends when they had their babies, like, they have crazy amounts of security in the maternity ward.
They've got the armband on them, and, you know, they check the tags a million times, and all these security systems. I remember touring birthing suites when I was pregnant, and they're like, we have, you know, state-of-the-art security and cameras here, and here. And I was like, wow, we live in a society where this is necessary, and it kind of freaked me out. Guess we do.
Yeah, and that has to just kind of touch you as a woman who's giving birth, which I haven't, but any woman who's given birth, it's got to kind of touch you, like, deep down, like, holy crap. This has to happen because of what they're showing. Like, this woman on screen had lost her child. She was one of them that didn't make it. She was a little bit, well, distraught and postpartum and possibly kind of losing it, because she goes, see, no. I told them that my baby was okay. And she's it's like, that's not your baby. You know, June's like, that's my baby. And unfortunately, like, they go back a little bit, and it showed, what, like 9 or 12 bassinets in the maternity ward, and they were all empty.
Yeah, and the nurse is kind of like, oh, we had a rough night. And there were no other babies there when she was going back for her daughter to have a bath.
Because the other ones didn't make it. And that's, like, horrifying.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, we don't have that today, but wow.
Right, it's just scary. And like I said, I may not have children, but I still see that as something that's truly frightening, that if that many people start losing their babies.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine, especially in a world where it is so difficult to not only get pregnant, but to have a successful pregnancy up until the point where you give birth and you still might not make it.
Right. Because she was waiting for testing to come back.
Yep. That just kind of shot a bolt of lightning through me, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
And basically, if you're listening, the women who are on the podcast with me, Ingrid and Jennifer, are both moms. So I'm like the outsider here. But just seeing that, it's like, wow. That just makes you think, like, what kind of people would be thinking, like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, the birth rates are going down. Obviously, it's because of sin and this, and then Tinder was the thing I couldn't think of last episode. You know, and it's like the religious zealots kind of grab on, and I've also seen it in another show I'm watching currently, you know, 12 Monkeys. They grab onto the grief that all these women have.
They take into the fear and the grief and just the misery, and they're like, well, it's, and of course you want it to be someone's fault. You don't want it to be your own fault. And I feel like we kind of saw that in our own society here within the last 12 months or so, where we needed it to be someone's fault, and, you know, things have changed drastically because of that. And I also kind of see, I watch a lot of politics, and I'm one of those nerds that watches C-SPAN. I admit it, I do it. Just because I don't want to filter a lot of the times when I look to see what's going on. But I do see a lot of politicians, and this is on both sides. This is not a left or a right thing, and I'm actually an independent voter, and I choose who I want. I don't do parties. But I see a lot of politicians trying to say, oh, it's so-and-so's fault, or it's this group's fault, or, you know, we need to get back to religious basics. And you see this thing where they're skirting dangerously close to not having separation of church and state, which is kind of the whole reason the United States was a thing, because we broke away from the Church of England and crazy King George and his taxation without representation, and we all had to, you know, we wanted religious freedoms or freedom from religion if you did didn't happen to be religious. And that's kind of how our Constitution is working. And then you kind of see executive orders and bills being, put up that moves us a little bit closer to not having a separation between the two. And it becomes a little scary for anyone who's paying attention and realizes that, yes, you are indeed free to have any religion you want, but that also means other people are also allowed to have that freedom as well.
Right. So we don't live in a theocracy where this is happening.
Yes. Whereas with this show, they've picked a religion. They've kind of gone all out with it. They've had wardrobe changes. I mean, there's no going back once you throw out the old clothes. So they're going with it. And it's kind of horrifying. And we kind of know with this episode how much of a break from reality this world is, because we see the birthing ceremony.
Yes.
And it's kind of a bizarre acid trip thing where, the mother is with the other wives, and she's pretending she's going through these mock labor pains.
Yeah, the simulated labor thing. I'm just like, what is this?
How crazy do you have to be to do that?
Even with the ice and like rubbing
Uh-huh.
her. I'm like, what are you rubbing her back and stuff? She's not pregnant.
Yeah,
And you've got the woman upstairs who's now surrounded by all the handmaids, because apparently they all have to come. They don't have a choice.
Yeah, the birthing bus picks them up and you go. I mean, you just go. You don't ask questions, you go. And they're in there and they're chanting, push, push, breathe,
Right.
breathe. And, I remember having children, and if I had a bunch of crazy people all dressed the same chanting at me, I would not be accountable for what come out of my mouth. I'm just saying I would not make it in this world as a handmaid.
No, I mean, it's just such a difference. Like, you have Offred and a small group of the handmaids show up, because obviously there's only so many birthing buses.
Right.
And they see the women, the wives, all sitting there, like, in the living room, the beautiful place, with, like, grapes, and they're giving her ice, which is just weird. And they're drinking champagne. And, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then later we see them get frustrated because they're like, how long is this going to take? This is taking forever. Is she almost ready to have the baby?
Yeah.
And the wives are just like, it's like they're so far removed, they don't understand what's actually happening.
Yeah, and you've got crazy like a wolf, Janine, up there with her one eye giving birth, and she's like, no, I have to get up. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm fine. And they're like, you ain't going anywhere. Get back here.
Right.
I mean, I don't think, and she's the crazy one, and I don't think I could be even as restrained as the crazy one. I'd be like, no, we're all done here.
And even when she goes to have the baby, they put her in a chair. Now, I don't know what it's like. That just looks like it'd be a little uncomfortable. But they have the wife come and sit in a higher level of the chair.
Yeah, oh, yeah, like she's behind there, and she's like involved.
Like she's pushing, and swear to God, with what's on the look that was coming across her face, I'm like, she's going to crap on herself.
I thought that was probably going to happen, and I was a little disappointed when it didn't, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, and right when Janine gives birth to the baby, they basically kick her out. They put the wife in the bed to bond with the baby, and they name her Angela. Oh, how beautiful. And Janine's like, yeah, I named her Charlotte.
Right. I felt so bad because then you have all the handmaids. You have Aunt Lydia.
Elizabeth
Aunt Lydia.
Lydia,
Aunt
Aunt Lydia.
Look, girls, look what could happen. And like all the handmaids, several of them have probably had kids previous to this happening. Mm-hmm. So they all kind of huddle around and they start hugging her because I think they all had that bond and that fear. Like, this could happen to us and they're going to take the baby, and they just treat you like nothing more than a wet nurse.
Exactly. You're kind of, she'll get to feed the baby, for the first month or so, and then she's on her way to her next assignment. And that's just horrifying to me, to be taken away from your children that way, knowing that you were basically an incubator. It is your biological child. As far as I know, they're not inseminating them. They're actually having sex and using the handmaid's eggs.
Yeah.
And someone else is going to raise that child. And what really horrified me, and I don't know if it did other people, but when they say the baby is a girl, and I'm like, oh, dear God, are they going to raise this child to be a handmaid herself?
You know what? I wondered that myself. Because they're like,
See,
it's
okay,
a
I
girl,
was
and she's
the
all happy, and we've seen girls, like, in the school.
I would have been horrified, even if I was the wife.
Right.
Oh, Lord, they're going to take my precious child away from me. And all of them, like the wives and the handmaids, they're all like, this is a triumph, give ourselves a round of applause. We did this. Another child, healthy child into the world. And I'm like, talk about it takes a village. I mean,
But yeah, I totally get it, because when, I think it was first episode, when Offred and Offglen are going to the store and they pass a school and they see these little girls come out.
yes.
I'm wondering, are these the wives' children now, or are they possibly, will they be separated into the different groups later? It's like, what's happening?
I'm really unclear about how all of that works, and I haven't finished the book because I'm kind of pacing myself and waiting as the show goes on, because I still want to be surprised. I'm foolish that way, I guess. But yeah, when you see the little girls, you're like, okay, are they there because it's school and, education is segregated, boys and girls, because, you couldn't have them mixing.
Right.
Or are these actual children that have been tested, and these little girls, do have the capability, I think, to reproduce and become handmaids themselves? And at what age do they take them? And with each child being so precious, and the whole purpose of a household and having a handmaid is so that you have children. They keep repeating, give me children or I shall die, only to take those girl children away. Seems kind of counterintuitive to me.
So I'm wondering if the children of the handmaids, if they're healthy and can produce, they just become wives of the next generation of commanders.
Yeah, I wonder, because but I mean, they're definitely training them. That they're wearing red, and they're definitely, with the aunts, and it makes you wonder. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself because, I don't want to spoil anyone, but yeah, I really wonder what happens and what is the end goal? Is it so that, people can, form natural marriages and relationships and have their own children again? Or do they plan, this is the way we're going to do it from now on, and everyone else who comes after the handmaids that were forced into this kind of service, they'll grow up knowing that this was the purpose meant for their lives, and they won't know any better, so they won't want another way or another life. They won't miss their old life.
That would be depressing.
Yeah, so the scene with the little girls really made me think a lot, because I'm like, okay, and they didn't really explain it either, and I think maybe we'll get more of that later, but yeah, what a world to live in, where, especially if not only to be a handmaid and to know you had a girl and she might suffer the same awful fate that you yourself are living, but to be a wife and all this work and giving up your husband, and to know that this child, if they're healthy enough to reproduce, you're going to take them away. Because
we do know, basically, from this episode, how the wives feel about all the handmaids. Oh, yeah. Because Offred was down taking stuff to the kitchen, empty glasses or whatever, and that's when her mistress, I guess is the best way to say it, she's like, come with me. And there's like two or three other wives in the room with all the cookies. Do we know the mistress's name yet? Do we what? Do we know her mistress's name yet? She's listed as Serena Joy, but I don't think they've said her name. Okay, yeah. Oh, her name is Serena. Spoiler alert. Okay. And then Offred being of Fred, then we know the commander's name is Fred. Right. But yeah, I think they've referred to her. I don't know. I can't remember. Okay, go ahead. Well, she's taking stuff to the kitchen. They're asking her, is it coming soon? Did you hear the word breach? Like she's an idiot. Mm-hmm. Well, they kind of treat her a little bit like an animal or a pet or a dog, and they're like, oh, honey, do you want a cookie? Oh, sugar isn't good for them. And she's standing there. Right, and then saying, we have to just deal with what we get. They're such sluts and whores. It's like, oh, my God. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe you're saying this. And then she takes the cookie. I think she took the cookie mostly because her mistress didn't want her to. Yeah, and then she didn't even eat it. Right. She, spit it out. She's like, ha, ha, ha. That was her, one form of rebellion. Right. And then just kind of leaving it on the counter in the bathroom or whatever. Yeah. But, I would not last 2 seconds as a handmaid. They'd have to kill me. I couldn't do it. Yeah, they'd be beating my ass pretty much daily is the problem. But like I said, we did get a little bit more, because in the beginning we see her walking to the store again with Offglen. I don't know why I keep screwing that up. And we find out that she used to be a book editor.
Mm-hmm.
And she was from Brooklyn. And Offglen was a professor at university, and she was from Missouri. So I'm like, we don't know where they are. We're assuming this is northeast, I believe is what I said. Because
I'm assuming I'm assuming it's like New York area, somewhere there.
Maybe upper New York.
Yeah, like upstate somewhere.
Yeah. And then we see them like tearing down a Catholic church, and they say they're erasing all the Catholic churches. Which seems very strange because last episode when we were having the ceremony, they're reading out of the Bible. But then again, like how many different religions read out of Bibles? It's just tailored to, I guess, each religion. So I'm guessing this isn't a Catholic thing at all.
No, not at all. I think the Pope is pretty upset right now. I would be interested to see how other countries feel about what America has become.
I think we'd get something later, which you would know more than me, because I swear I read something about we get a group from Mexico come in.
Yes,
okay,
we do.
So we won't talk about that too much. But we also find out in this episode that the American flag now only has 2 stars, and the capital is Anchorage. But I want to know what the other one is. Is it Hawaii? I mean, is that all that's left? I don't know.
I don't know. I was just like, okay. I was just kind of going with it.
But they were talking about the war in Chicago. So.
Yes. There was some kind of uprising. We don't really know details. Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't dealing with I'm like, what are they talking about? And it's so funny to me, because we talked about this before in our other show. Whenever they say something about Chicago, I'm like, oh my God, Chicago. I'm like, wait, this isn't good. But this happened in the host as well. They were in Chicago, and I'm like, oh crap. Great. The aliens are coming, and they're going to...
It's always Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with us over here. Apparently, we have a lot of crazy stuff happening.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago for 15 years, and then we moved down to Atlanta, so I'm right there with you. I'm like, Chicago?
It's like, what? Yeah, wait, why? The only thing I can think of with the Great Lakes and all the shipping, that would be like the best place for something to happen, but...
I think it's because Chicago has the best food, so, therefore...
We do have really good food.
These people are not going to stand for it. We've got good food. We've got 9 months of white winter weather. We drive in feet of snow. Nothing's going to stop us. Of course, we're going to be the ones. The Chicagoans are going to rise up. We're going to cause problems because you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, the whole weather thing. Yeah, you're right. Like, what? 3 feet of snow? I'm still going to work. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
Exactly. Yeah. You get up, you dig your car out, and you go to work. So, yeah, I could see Chicago rising up for a variety of reasons where people in Orlando are probably like, snow came down, and, yeah, we can't really deal with that. Even Atlanta, 2 inches caused the snowpocalypse, so they're not going to rise up. They're like, yeah, you know what? It's kind of hot, so we're just going to let things happen. There will be no uprising today. Thanks.
Oh, that's horrible.
But yeah, I mean, I really am curious about getting to know more about this world and how it came to be and the way that they slowly do the reveals. And it's the same way in the book. It's just, it makes it so compelling. Like, it's very, very hard to turn the book off. When I get to a certain point, I'm like, but just maybe a few minutes more. And I'm like, nope, turn it off.
But just the next chapter. It's fine.
Exactly. And I have to stop myself. And with the TV show, with them releasing the first 3 episodes, like I literally subscribed to Hulu so that I could watch the show. Like we'd had it and then I'd canceled it and then I heard this was coming on and I literally did my free trial of Hulu, ended up keeping Hulu again because I can't miss Handmaid's Tale.
Right. So, I think this is what a lot of people are doing right now. Because they're like, this is great.
It was a really good way to get subscribers. Yeah. So, yeah. But I didn't just, you see poor Janine with her mangled up eye.
I felt so bad for Janine.
Yeah.
And I felt actually worse later when they bring her the baby.
And they kind of shake her,
right.
Like, are you up?
She's like, wake up. This baby needs a nip. It's like, wow. It's just like,
rude.
Wake up and feed the baby. And that was all that she's there for. But she was singing. It was kind of sweet and talking to the baby. I was afraid for her, though. I was really thinking the wife was going to come in and, like, snatch the baby away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and you have to imagine that the wives don't like it. The baby has to go to her. Like, if I were one of the wives, like, I'd go all out. I'd be owning that green dress, first of all. And I'd be like, okay, we're getting a breast pump, and this is how it's going to go.
Well, they want it all going back to nature.
That's true. That's true. I wouldn't make a very good wife either, I guess.
I think we'd be in Anchorage. I don't know.
We'd be sent off somewhere.
Probably.
But I won't disclose because I know I know where they send them, but I won't say.
So we also have the driver, and
Yes.
It was kind of interesting, this back and forth. You know, he tells Offred, I'm sorry, I need to say who her is. There's so many hers. He tells Offred not to get too close to Offlin because she's dangerous. And then says, the commander wants to see you later. Was it 9 p.m. sharp? And it's alone. And she's like, but why? He's like, I don't know.
And what do you do when you're put in that situation? You know you're probably not supposed to, but if you don't, you're probably going to be in trouble anyways. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations.
Right.
It's just
and
like, what do you do? And do you trust the driver even?
Right. Because he could be the eye. We don't know. And the fact that he's looking at her, like,
we don't think I is.
She was taking off her shoes and socks because she had gotten wet because she got caught in the rain, and like her, what was it, like right above her knee was showing.
Yes.
And he was like staring at her.
That sexy knee.
Right. And then he's just like, "Be careful," and he walks away. It was like, all right, that was weird. Is she trying to see, like, how far she can push this? Or
I don't know. You get a little more information as to why that knee is so sexy, and they haven't really said it yet in the series, but they have in the book. And the book reorders things a little bit, so you, like some scenes are, before or after, but they do explain why a knee might be so sexy. But at the same time, I'm like, really, a knee? Really?
Well, think about it. It used to be an ankle. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're going way back.
Quite risque.
Yeah.
They wear these awful boots.
With no shoestrings.
Those are awful boots. I guess they would hang themselves with shoestrings.
That's what I kind of figured.
If you notice their outfits, they don't have any ties or strings or anything like that on them, and they're not really allowed to have anything in their room. So I can imagine that they have a high suicide rate.
Well, yeah, because in episode 1, she says, the glass on these windows won't break. The windows won't open.
Yep.
Because they don't want us to kill ourselves. But it was just like, holy crap. It's weird when you see the little things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still wondering about the driver, though.
The driver is definitely suspicious. I'm like, is he interested in her? Is he a spy trying to get her to misbehave? Is he a part of the resistance? I mean...
There's so much we don't know.
Yeah. He's definitely a mystery.
And we did have Offlin at the birthing, and her and Offred quietly talking, and she's like, the commander wants to see me. She's like, well, let me see if I can find out. Which nobody has known anything. Right.
So she's probably a part of the resistance. And did we find out in her previous life she had a female partner,
yeah,
and she was a lesbian, and they had adopted a son, I think?
Well, they had a son. She didn't officially say adopted.
I don't know if they adopted a son or if one of them had a son. Probably Offlin.
Yes.
Since she's handmaid now.
Right. Because in the birthing mobile, I guess.
The birthmobile.
The birthmobile, that sounds weird. When they're driving back, everybody's asleep, and she's whispering to Offred.
That was funny.
She's
what
like,
she said.
Yeah, nobody's heard of anything. Just let me know. Basically, she's like, yeah, I'm resistance, but who can you trust?
Who's more dangerous? A carpet munching something or other, and I was like, gender traitor, yes. And I was like, oh.
And that kind of freaked me out that she said it. And it's like, okay, it's not just the two of them, because any one of those girls could possibly not be asleep and not trustworthy.
Exactly. I was like, ooh, they're being so dangerous.
And it was just kind of worrisome. And it's like, okay, yeah, she's going to tell you if she hears anything from the commander, but, at the same time, maybe you shouldn't be talking about it right now.
Exactly. That was my thought, but I guess everyone was just knocked out from all the excitement.
Yeah, okay, excitement. But,
or maybe they were drugged. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Could be anything.
The cookies. I don't know.
But we do have the meeting that happened with the commander. And
Yes.
I was worried what would happen, but at the same time, it's like, okay, she's the lead character that we're following, so she's not going to die yet.
Yeah, but, is this going to set up something that has the potential to jeopardize everything for her? Is this the crux?
Well,
and he wants to play Scrabble.
Which actually is kind of dangerous because they're not supposed to be reading or anything. So
no, exactly.
Is he just trying to gauge how smart she actually is?
Possibly. Or does he have another reason as to why he wants to form a relationship with her? And I think we will get more of that later, but I mean, it's just kind of like, really? He brought me in here and for any reason, and it's to play Scrabble? And she's just kind of, taken aback, Offred is by, really, Scrabble? And even when I was watching this, I'm like, really?
Yeah, that was pretty much my same reaction, because I'm like, what's he going to do? What is he trying to set her up for? And I'm like, is the wife going to come in and...
The test.
Yeah, I did not know. But even in the tense situation, she was able to kind of joke, and I felt like she probably had a moment of, oh, this is like back how it used to be. Because he's like, well, I'm going to be on a trip, but when I get back, maybe we can do this again. She's like, I'll check my schedule. Kind of like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
And he's like...
Yeah, I was really surprised that she was bold enough to make a joke like that, but it was perfect. It was perfect.
And then they ended it with a handshake, which seems like really something that would not happen.
No.
So I was surprised.
It's a little bit different, but we get that difference in a later episode.
Oh, okay. I'm happy the way it ended, which I think Offred was too, because she goes back up into her room and she's
like, ooh, it was only
nervous laugh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, again, you have the driver watching the window.
Yep, watching her as she's walking to her shopping partner, and the shopping partner turns around, and it is not Offglen.
It's Offglen, but not. Yes, we have a different.
Yeah, it's the new Offglen.
So, what could have happened? Could the driver have turned her in for who knows what? Because it seems like it could be absolutely anything, as we'd seen on the street. That when they were watching the church get torn down, all of a sudden the eyes were there, and they kind of panic that they could be coming for one of them, and they just take a random guy off the street.
Yep.
And
which is disturbing in and of itself, that you can just be walking, minding your own business, and because you did something, minor, like maybe you gave a woman a newspaper or something, and they're going to haul you off and, string you up on the wall, which is just crazy.
It's really disturbing. And the fact that they're showing, and without showing, if that makes sense. It's just scary. Yep. And I didn't talk about it last episode, and I explained after the show to Ingrid, we didn't talk about the sex, but it opened with sex this one. And I'll tell you why I didn't talk about it. It felt very awkward watching it, and it was very much like when you're a kid and a sex scene comes on when you're sitting in the room with your parents, and you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't look at this.
Yeah.
I don't know where to look. Because nobody's making eye contact. Everybody's fully clothed.
Yeah, and you have the wife in Offred is like with her head in between the wife's legs, and the wife is a part of it holding her hands, and it's a level of creepy I could not have ever imagined.
Yes.
So thank you, Handmaid's Tale. You've taken me somewhere I've never gone before.
I mean, the commander is just in full dress. Basically, he just unzips his pants. So it's like...
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even take his vest off.
No. I don't think he took his watch out of his pocket either. I mean, it was just like... And he's not looking. He's just holding on to, the bedpost. And it was... Oh, it was just so awkward. And even the rhythm was awkward. I mean,
yeah, it's just like...
Because I think that was the point, to try to make you feel as awkward as the situation was.
They did a wonderful job.
Yes, kudos to you guys, because it was weird.
Yes, yeah, it was awkward, it was weird. I watched it by myself, and I was still looking around like, anyone else seeing this?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I feel like, how to portray this without any kind of graphicness happening. And that's exactly what it was, as non-graphic as possible, because you see
and
nothing.
the book is really The book is really the same way as it describes it. It's very clinical. It is a ceremony. It talks about how, the ceremony and the bedroom being the wife's domain. Nothing happens without her permission. And it's not graphic whatsoever. And it makes you feel really uncomfortable even reading it in a book. So, yeah, great job to the author and great job to the production people who brought it to life on screen because, whoa, I felt awkward.
Right. And this is a real big difference from the Handmaid's Tale movie from the 90s. Actually, I think it was from 1990. Like, a lot different, the sex scene. So, I recommend trying to watch
that. Was released I haven't watched it, but is that one I think was a different country? Made for a different country, or was it in the States?
I think it was the States.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were running for Canada then, too. Which apparently Canada has kept their sense about them. I said that last episode, too.
Yes. Yeah, Ingrid, you're lucky to be in Canada. Everybody wanted to go there.
So, I don't know. Like, overall, this episode lets you feel all the awkward feelings that the handmaids are having. Last episode, you got to see in that one moment all the hatred and anger in that one scene, the group mentality. And so I can only wonder what the next episode, which you've seen, I haven't, like what kind of version we're getting, because we're seeing the handmaids, we're seeing the anger, we're seeing the awkwardness. Now what are we seeing next?
The next episode is going to make you mad.
See, we keep getting all these feelings, so hopefully everybody is like on board. It's not that many episodes. So.
It's horrifying, awkward, and then it's really, really gonna make you mad. But it's good.
Oh God, there's so much happening.
I can't wait for you to see it. It is, it's one of those that you're just like, oh my God, I cannot believe. Like just when you think that this series and the book has surprised you enough. Okay, this is it. This world is screwed up. It can't be any more screwed up. Oh wait, I spoke too soon.
Oh Lord, that's not.
Because there are new and exciting situations that the handmaids and the wives get themselves in, and just everyone in this world, where you're just like, oh man, was there nothing else to vote for? Was this the only choice? Come on, people.
Now I'm gonna be like, all right, Jennifer, gotta go, gotta watch now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, anything else about Birthday that you felt was like really important?
Just the overall shock of it being a different person that she's meeting with at the end.
I kind of felt that would happen, but I didn't think it would happen this quickly.
And after seeing the one guy kind of disappear and we don't know where he went, and now Offglen has kind of disappeared and we don't know where she went, it's a little frightening, especially when you've got Mike watching Offred.
Yes.
Is he her friend? Is he, not? There is more to Mike, I will say that, but yeah, I was really kind of taken aback that I was surprised that it was a different person.
Oh, well, I'm worried about how many of them are going to be switching up. I feel like that's going to happen a lot, but I will make sure to keep you all informed because that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the rest of the season. There are only 8 episodes, so
yes,
it won't be a very long season, but we do have a season 2 coming, which is like what's going to happen there. That should be interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder if we're getting the whole book in the 8 seasons, or if season 2 will continue the book, or if we will get additions onto the story after the book, like more information in addition to the book.
So many questions, not enough answers.
I know.
But if you guys have any information for us, shoot us an email at fangirlzonepodcast@gmail.com. Check out the page. Check out the Facebook page. Why do I never say all the words? Check out the Facebook page. Check out our website. It's all over everywhere. And we will definitely read it. And if you have some interesting theories and maybe want to join us later, shoot us a message. We can always talk about it. And eventually, when this season is done, and hopefully I finally get a book in hand, I will have...
They've been selling out.
I know, like crazy. I was wishing somebody was in New York when they had that big, promotional thing.
It was great. All those out. That was so cool.
But we're going to do a book to screen. So that means Jennifer will have to watch the movie back from 1990.
I will, yes.
And I will have to have the book read, and then we'll compare everything. So thank you for joining me, Jennifer, on the second episode of Handmaid's Tale, and I look forward to talking to you more about this season. From the Fangirl Zone, I'm Sean Fangirl S.
And I've been Jennifer.
And until next time,